Hello, everybody. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. We're, of course, reached the middle of the week, affectionately known to everybody as Hump Day. I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. We'll just gonna wait a few minutes, give people a chance to come in and stuff. But as always, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Let's see this. And it would appear we, of course, have at least one other person here. Why don't? Well, I guess maybe I will talk about what's on top for tonight, since we do have somebody here. So tonight we're actually gonna go over the indie comic showcase this week. Sometimes, not most of the time, I save it for Thursday, but as things seem to be a bit slow today again, of course, this is the end of the month, so things might be getting ready to transition a little bit. So we're gonna go over the indie comic showcase tonight. Also, we'll do the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history, of course. Day being the last day of the month. Getting ready to get into Valentine's Day, which is of course a couple weeks away. And it looks like people are gone again. So, anyways. All right, but as I was saying, and they're back, okay. But as I was saying, first off, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So, with said, um, that being said, why don't we go ahead and get right into it then, since I've already gone over what we're doing tonight. Let's get right into this then. So we're going to go over the Indie Comic Showcase and do it a little earlier than usual. As all right, so there it is. All right, so let's get into this then. All right, so I guess Chris took a break last week, or he just didn't have anything to focus in on. So this week, of course, he's back. He's back with a new article. Hey there, hey there, Jr. Hail Xenu and Xena. All right, hello. As always, comment and or ask questions if anything here grabs your attention. Feel free to do so. So, Indie Comic Showcase number 258. Fingernails, Voyager, and the Great Cyclopean. Article by Chris Braley, published January 31st, 2024. So it was published earlier today. All right, so Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent creators. Let's see, that are currently crowdfunding their project, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle, and of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers, which of course we do. You hear on the Mikestand when we cover this article. Ah. On Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out products for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comics. Let's jump in. All right, so here's the first one, and I will get the link up for that in a moment here. Fingernails, Ghosts in the Projects by Jeff Carroll. So before we, of course, get into the article here, let me go grab the link, share. And this, of course, is a Kickstarter campaign. So, Fingernails 2, Ghosts in the Projects. Jeff Carroll. I wonder if he took that, or took part of the titling aspect of it, projects, from like Ghost in the Shell. So here's the link to this one. So, I want to check that out. There's the link to that particular site. If you guys want to check that out, go check that out on Kickstarter there. All right, so let's get into this article. Emacs Emmanuel Kinley. All right, so Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Jeff. Tell me the elevator pitch for Fingernails. Jeff Carroll. The Fingernail story was inspired by the many discoveries of African American cemeteries around the Southeast. In 2019, 120 graves were discovered under a housing complex. This is a story that fueled my creative juices. In this tale, Annie and her friends set out to investigate strange ghostly happenings at a housing project. Time is not on their side, as local ghost hunter has also come to exterminate all mincing spirits. Okay, somebody doing some typos here because I think there's some grammar and some mincing spirits. Fingernails. Main goal is to prove that ghosts aren't bad. What they find at these projects challenges all of their paranormal investigation skills. Chris, so what was this a true incident that inspired this? Jeff, I got the idea for the story from learning about all of these African burial grounds that have been discovered around the East Coast. Fingernails idea came from talking to people about their feelings towards ghosts and the dead. I learned that there was a cultural divide. Black and brown people had different beliefs, but in the movies, the narrative of the dead being evil. They wanted to hurt living people, which was so prominent that people accepted one thing in the movies, another in their homes. I wanted to offer a different approach in Fingernails. I didn't want people to demonize the dead. I made Ghostbuster type characters, the villains, as opposed to the heroes. All right, so as we continue on here, some interesting color schemes there. Chris, what type of reader is this comic aimed at? Jeff, this comic is for young readers, black readers, people who like fun horror like Scooby Doo, and really any readers who just want something new and fresh. So, there's something right there. Let's see. How would so Chris asks, how would you describe your approach to writing comics? Jeff, I like to think of my stories on the fly. While reading books and watching movies, I like to tell my stories to people and work them out in front of a crowd. Laugh out loud in an audience as small as one person. I then write out an outline. After that, I sketch out stick figure pages. Um, Lastly, um, I write the script. My creative team is usually small, with just me and the illustrator Emax Emmanuel Olumide on this issue. All right, Night Watcher. How far along is the production on this issue? Jeff, I like to have my books fully illustrated before I do a Kickstarter. So fingernails, Ghost in the Project is finished. All right. So he's one of those who wants to complete the book first, then put it up for sale. Okay. Um, are there more stories to tell in this comic universe? Jeff, yes, I am currently writing a tie-in to book stories that take the Fingernails group to. Now, mind you, before I say this word, mind you, this is the name of a place. I don't believe he's using this in a derogatory manner, so that's the disclaimer right there. So I'm about to use a word that might upset some people, so giving you fair warning. Group to Negro Mountain. Um, I have a novel called It Happened on Negro Mountain, um, where a ghost protects the mountain. And yes, I decided to use a Spanish version instead of the English version the second time around there, just in case you all wondered. Uh, Chris, cool. Anything else you'd like to mention about your crowdfunding campaign before we sign off? Jeff, I have variant covers and rewards that includes other books that I wrote. Thug Angel Rebirth of a Gargoyle is a story where Annie made her first appearance. It is where she learns that her father is a gargoyle. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I also have my other comics offered in my rewards. Please check out the campaign. There we go. All right, so that's it for that one. I'm getting ready to move on to the next one here. I'll go grab that link in a moment. Voyager by Roberto Villacava. A lot of people like using that title for a comic, don't they? But I think we had another book called Voyager as a comic that we featured recently. And here's another Kickstarter campaign. Let's Voyager by Roberto Villacava. There's the link to that book from an Indiegogo project. So you guys want to check that out real quick here. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's get back into this article then. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Roberto. Hit me with your elevator pitch for Voyager. Roberto Villacava. Voyager presents an adventure story inspired by Greek myths and fantastic journeys. It is a hero's journey where our protagonist, an everyman, will have to confront multiple dangers and discover if he measures up to the quote unquote chosen one status the locals expect. Likewise, the two women that he will find on his way are two sides of the same coin, fundamental figures on his own path of discovery. So let's see. Two women, huh? All right, Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from? Roberto, originally prompted by a publisher's call for a love story, we decided to inject a twist by creating a love triangle. However, the prospect of a straightforward love narrative felt somewhat uninspiring, leading us to brainstorm alternate ideas. Seeking excitement, adventure, and a touch of fantasy, we found the perfect blend in Greek mythology, offering a mix of drama, adventure, and fantastical elements. Um, Naturally, we couldn't resist incorporating a few original monsters of our own. Self publishing isn't a new concept for us. We dabbled in it back in the 90s. Embracing Kickstarter provided us the opportunity to bring our story to life while directly engaging with readers. The journey has been incredibly enjoyable so far. All right. Let's see. All right. See if anybody. Nope. All right. Continuing on with the article here. Chris, what kind of comic readers is this suited for? Roberto, for readers who relish adventures in fantastical realms akin to John Carter from Mars or Conan, and perhaps appreciate the imaginative worlds crafted by Richard Corbin or Frank Frazetta. It also resonates with those who enjoy a more European vibe, reminiscent of Mobius, Mobius's Ar- Arzak, definitely for the kids of the 80s. Oh boy. uh, Chris, how would you describe your art style? Roberto, the style of Voyager emerged from my desire to create something in color, almost eliminating the line. In my other works, I typically adhere to a more conventional style, employing pencil and ink, now digitally, leaving the color to others. In those cases, I focus on giving volume and shadow through ink, in contrast with Voyager. The initial scene was conceived entirely in color, um, with the addition of some lines later on. Um, as the story transitions geographically, I simplify the style a bit more to add dynamism. I draw everything digitally on Clip Studio, from thumbnails to the final color and text balloons. Ah, hmm. All right, so let me see. We continue on here. Chris, introduce me to the creative team on this project. Roberto, in charge of the script is the prolific Rodolfo Santullo, an accompanying accomplished writer of with over 40 graphic novels published and a collection of awards um, and nominations in Argentina, Uruguay, and France. Besides his impressive graphic novel portfolio, Rodolfo is also a novelist and journalist, an all around great guy. Our collaboration began a decade ago when he invited me to contribute to an anthology um, he was drafting. The eye catching title block is a creation of the talented Victor Ferro, who also crafted alternate cover the alternate cover for the issue number 2, I crossed paths with Victor in 2020 during an online illustration course. Despite being in the early stages of his career back then, Victor's artistic journey has been adorned with numerous awards. If you're not familiar with his work yet, be sure to check it out soon. His art is truly incredible. As for myself, Roberto Viacava, I round out the team on the graphic side and bringing everything together with 2 decades of experience drawing comics for publishers in Argentina, Italy, France, and the USA. I've now ventured into self-publishing again with Green Iceberg Press. The brand, and particularly the logo, symbolizes a new beginning, a thriving venture that flourishes against all odds. All right. Chris, what have you been learning from self-publishing through the process? Roberto, it's been a great experience of learning by doing. I think the main lesson is to take action is the only thing that makes a difference. Set a north and start walking. I think that should be set out north if that's going to be it, and start walking step by step to your goal. Um, I'm meeting a lot of nice people, and more opportunities are starting to open. Yes. Are there more stories to tell in this world? Roberto, oh, this is just the beginning. Rodolfo is currently crafting um, issue 3, and um, and we plan to launch it in April, right after the fulfillment of issue 2 is completed. Voyager is set to unfold across a total of 6 thrilling issues throughout the entirety of 2024. So basically, they're planning on putting out an issue every other month. You know, so bi-monthly um, bi-monthly release dates. All right. So currently, I'm assembling a team of artists and writers for a fantasy anthology. It will serve as a creative background playground to test themes and ideas. If readers enjoy them, each concept will eventually expand into its own book. That's kind of how they used to do it in the old days, I believe. Start out with anthologies to kind of test the waters, as it were, and then just continue on with more of the stuff. Um, anyways, Chris, anything else you would like to share with our readers before we sign off? Roberto, thank you all. Thank you to all the readers supporting indie comic creators. Um, Whether through purchases, shares, reviews, or comments, your support brings us closer every day to realizing our dreams. For a free teaser of issue 1 and to stay updated on my projects, consider subscribing to my newsletter here. A special thanks to Bleeding Fool and Lucas Paris um, for providing the opportunity to share my project. All right, so there we go. Now, of course, friends of this channel know who these two people are that we're about to, of course, talk about here. The Great Cyclopean, number 7, by Christopher and Diana Tomolovich. And we'll go grab the... And we know these guys have been working on this book for quite some time. Working on the series for quite some time. So there's a Great Cyclopean right there for those who may want to go check that particular property out there. All right. So with that, let's get into this portion of the article right here. The Great Cyclopean 7 by Christopher and Diana Tomolovich. All right. So, Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Christopher. You're crowdfunding the Great Cyclopean issue number 7 right now. What's the story here, and who is the, in quotes, Great Cyclopean? Christopher Tomolovich. Captain Aura goes head to head with the Zenith team when Isum, um, a retired superhero with a secret power that warps reality, shows up to quote unquote save the day, or in small quotes, save the day. That's it. That's it. Cyclopean will go along with the plan. Great Cyclopean series is suitable for all ages. The Great Cyclopean is a story about Peter. Peter is a relatable character because though he is a, in smaller quotes, superhero, he has flaws. For instance, Peter is deaf, does not speak, and uses sign language. Kind of, at least you doesn't not the not speaking sign language part, goes hand in hand with like Snake Eyes from GI Joe. And other devices to communicate. Peter is found by the U.S. government as a baby and raised in a U.S. compound for unusual and special children. He goes through difficulties that many of our youth today may face, such as not fitting in, looking different, etc. It is an awesome story of how one can succeed in this world despite the challenges he has as a deaf individual. Hmm. All right, so let's see. We continue on here. Chris, Chris Braley. What made you decide to create this character, Chris Tomolovich? Um, Cyclovian was a character that I created in my childhood. Fast forward to now, with the encouragement of my wife and editor, I decided to take the plunge, probably in more ways than one, right? And begin creating comic books. Comic books were such a huge part of my childhood growing up. Deciding to self-publish it. Oh, here's another typo they did. They jammed the two sentences together there. Deciding to self-publish it was easy. I wanted full control of my story, and as a new comic creator on the market, it is difficult. It is difficulty to get into the. I think they should have said difficult. So another bit of a slip there. To get into a publishing company. Hmm. Chris Braley, tell me a bit about your creative process. Um, Chris Tomolovich, my style and creative process is somewhat unusual. As a former graphic artist with limited schooling, I was always able to draw and write. Even as a youngster, I would wow my school friends with comics created using a copy machine. I believe having high functioning autism, Asperger's syndrome, is my secret weapon. I typically sketch out my panels and characters. I know the gist of the story and what the dialogue might be. As the art comes together, I add the dialogue, colors, finish the pencils, etc. It is an unusual process, I am told, but it works for me. Well, probably unusual to anybody outside of Chris's world, um, but you know. Chris Braley, who's your creative team? Chris Tomolovich. I am the sole creator of my comics with the exception of my wife Diana. She is the one who edits my work. She not only looks at the sentence structure, but any grammatical errors, the fluidness and placement of the balloon text. She has been super helpful in this area. She also ensures the plot and characters continue to move forward at a good pace, and there are no in small quote holes or in quote holes. Let's see. Chris Braley, what's your production workflow like? Chris Tomolovich, I am able to work at a pretty pace. I live and breathe comics, which is to say, besides my full time job as a tech, I work on my comic books full time as well. The Great Cyclovian, issue number 7, is complete. We are in the process of crowdfunding now to get the books to print and then to the reader. Honestly, creating the comic book is the easy part. I have learned that it is the crowd funding, marketing of the project, and networking that is the challenge. My wife and I have learned that in order to for the success of the project, we need to be proactive by using all of our social media as well as local comic book shops. Chris Braley. What are your plans beyond this book? Chris Tomovich. The Great Cyclopean is a 12-issue series. I am currently working issue 8. I do have other books that are geared towards mature audiences. Once I complete the Cyclopean series, I will focus my attention on those. Yeah, and let's not forget, this is the same guy who gave us Trolls Exposed, right? Look at that! Look at it! Look at that! Look at that muscle man right there. Yeah, would not want to meet that guy in a dark alley, would I? Or would any of us, for that matter? You know, don't think I'd want to. I don't think any of us would want to meet that guy in a dark alley somewhere. Hmm. All right. So Chris Braley, before we wrap up, are there any special features on the campaign that you want to mention? Chris Tomovich. One of the things we decided to do was to offer PDFs of the Great Cyclopean issues 1 through 6 free on our website for a limited time. Our decision to do this surprised many people. The purpose of doing this is to offer younger readers the comic book experience and get them reading. Chris Braley, thanks, Christopher, and good luck on your campaign. All right, so there we go. So finish here, as it were. That's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comic Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics, and reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support Indie Comics. There we go. There we go with that. Oh, now it looks like we made it all the way to the 43-minute mark, so we'll go ahead and start. Go ahead and start. We'll start moving things along here as we will get ready to do the wrestling wrap up. And then this day in each history, and then all right. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about. So WWE right now is scrambling as they just finished up Royal Rumble, and of course they got Elimination Chamber coming up next month, as well as WrestleMania coming up the month after that. Now, due to a mix of injuries and some other stuff that's been going on, of course, right now their WrestleMania plans are kind of chaotic. As of course CM Punk got injured during the Royal Rumble, so it looks like he's out for WrestleMania. Um, you know, let's see. Seth Rollins is nursing an injury, so they've they want to try to maybe take the belt off him for a while. And of course, Brock Lesnar is, because of the fact, even though he's not being sued per se, he was mentioned in the lawsuit against Vince McMahon brought on by Janelle Grant, which has made him somewhat persona non grata in the WWE locker room right now. Which means that now, for a lot of the plans they had going into this year's WrestleMania, they now are scrambling to try to figure out ways, since of course Punk, now will Cody go after Roman, or will he go after Seth Rollins? Some other guys who they're looking to possibly, they might consider having Damian Priest cash in his Money in the Bank suitcase at Royal Rumble. They also are possibly looking at maybe having LA Knight go maybe challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, and of course there's still Austin Theory as well. So they're looking at their options and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do about it. So that's about as much as we got. And then of course an injury. So just a lot of banged up and bruised people right now, as it were, along with some of the controversies that have stemmed from the last couple of years as well. Even though WWE has shown to be pretty successful in its current run. All right, so all right, so with that, let's continue on here as well. So now on tonight's AEW Dynamite, you have some, we have some matches, and of course I'll go over the results tomorrow. But for those who will be tuning into Dynamite, John Moxley will be taking in the first time ever match. John Moxley will be taking on Jeff Hardy. As part of their dealer's choice match, Hangman Adam Page takes on the Mogul Embassy's Toa Leona as chosen by Swerve. So the dealer's choice is basically your rival gets to pick who tries to take you out. Basically, that's the idea. Wardlow with members of the Undisputed Kingdom of OGK and Roderick Strong in his corner takes on Commander with Alexander Mahantes in his corner. In a non-title match, Ring of Honor Television Champion Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis and Powerhouse Hobbs in his corner takes on Chris Jericho. In a match that was set up this past Saturday night on Dynamite, Taya Valkyrie takes on Deonna Purrazzo. These two have met before. They've met in other promotions like most notably, of course, Impact. And then Swerve Strickland is taking on a mystery opponent to be chosen by Adam Page. But some people say he may have dropped a hint when he made mention of it on Dynamite. So That's all I got for the wrestling wrap up, guys. So now what we'll do is today being Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So let me just review here. All right. So with that, um, all right. So let's so today being Wednesday, January 31st, let's get to this day in Nietzsche history. So first off, head go back 75 years ago, as on this date 75 years ago, back in 1949, the fifth issue of True Complete Mystery from Marvel Comics, known then as Prime Publications Incorporated, went on sale on this date back in 1949. They had three features in it: Rico Mancini, the Deadly Dude, the Fatal Partnership, and Murder Will Out. So on this date, 75 years ago today, fifth issue of True Complete Mystery went on sale on this date back in 1949. Now, of course, moving ahead to 1974, on this date 50 years ago today, 1974, Taurus, Vicky the Viking, an anime that was in conjunction between Taurus Film and the first season was done by Mushi Productions, and Zio Izo did the second season, and third season was done by Nippon Animation. So on this date, back in 1974, Vicky the Viking would premiere on Japanese television, most notably, of course, Fuji Television. So there you go, that. Then, moving on to the next piece in each history, as we move ahead to 1994, as on this date in 1994, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Fernwood Resort in Bushkill, Pennsylvania. Main event saw Earthquake defeat Corey Stewart. Quang, with Harvey Whippleman in his corner, defeated Rich Myers. Bam Bam Bigelow with Luna Vachon in his corner defeated Miguel Rosado. And the opening match saw Marty Jannetty with the 1-2-3 Kid in his corner defeat Johnny Polo. Johnny Polo, a.k.a. Scott Levy, a.k.a. Raven. So this is before he took on the Raven persona. So, and of course, you had Vince McMahon and Erwin R. Scheiser, a.k.a. Mike Rotunda, on commentary there. So back in 1994, WWF held its Monday Night Raw event from the Bushkill. Let's see, what was it again? For Bushkill, Pennsylvania. The name of the resort was the Fernwood Resort in Bushkill, Pennsylvania. And finally, as we head to 1999 to finish things off here, on this date in 1999, Family Guy originally premiered on this date in 1999. On this date in 1999, Family Guy originally premiered on Fox News, on Fox rather. of course, they were canceled in 2002 and then brought back in 2005, where they're still running to this day. So, Family Guy was originally premiered on Fox on this date, 25 years ago today. So there we go with that. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. We'll, of course, be back here tomorrow with more Nietzsche news. Also, don't forget this Friday, I'll have Apex from Apex Comics coming in to coach with me, as we will be looking at comics that went on sale back in January 1940. We'll be looking at Silver Streak Volume 1, Issue 3 from Lev Gleason. And with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.